Bon bah, ça fait une semaine qu'on est là.
We've been here for a week and it's been raining every day. Cool. But the wind's blowing and we're on the water. Yesterday we sailed with Robbie, Pete Cabrina, Don Montagu, Flash. He impressed us at Wipika.
Hier on a navigué avec Robbie, avec Peter Cabrina, avec Don Montagu, avec Flash. Qui est d'ailleurs très fort, il a impressionné à Wipika. Ah, soleil.
Ah, sun.
On arrive dans Paia.
Here we are in Paia. We're going to Wipika like every day.
Je suis venu avec Christo, on est venus tous les deux faire du kitesurf, tester.
I came with Christopher to test the different spots on the island. Let's go and see him.
Et on va le voir. Christo, tu es motivé pour...
Ready to go out?
Un peu motivé,
I must say, for a European, it's not easy to go out here. The winds are gusty and the waves are quite big. So I'm quite scared, but I'm still going out. There's less swell. Yesterday it was big. Today it's okay.
Les mecs ici, ils n'arrivent pas trop à rester au vent.
The guys here don't try to stay upwind too much. They do real good tricks going slowly downwind. We're waiting for Lou and Mike Waltz, legend of windsurfing, who gives us his ideas on the sport. Here, the beach isn't too wide. You need short lines. These are the rocks in front, the place where you must not go.
C'est l'endroit où il faut surtout pas aller.
This is Flash at Wipika. He's one of the first guys we saw here. He's got a very radical style, very different to what we can see in Europe.
You've been here in Maui for how long?
For a little about over a year, a little over a year.
And you've been kitesurfing for, trying with kites and skimboards and all that.
I've been experimenting with kites and skimboards, dating back about 6 years. Yeah.
And that was in Florida.
Yeah, that was in Florida, but we don't have the consistent wind, so it was, a weekend thing that I was able to do, every once in a while. Some months I wasn't able to do it at all, and sometimes I was able to do it a lot, mostly in cold weather, because in Florida during the winter we have good winds, and the cold wind is prevalent.
Jamais il peut pas revenir au bord là, demande-lui où il va là.
If ever you can't come back, ask him where to go.
One emergency landing on a reef around here means you're not walking for a few weeks. Definitely not walking.
Yeah.
In the last 6 months here on the North Shore of Maui, kitesurfing started to really explode, and there's been a lot of interest into it, and a lot of people have decided to. They say it looks easy, and they'd like to try it. So we've started giving people lessons so that more people can enjoy the potential of kitesurfing.
two legends of windsurfing, Mike Waltz and Peter Cabrini.
I've been living in Maui for 11 years, but you know, I was born and raised in Hawaii, so pretty much my life.
Yeah, and because I did an interview with Robbie, it was 2.5 years ago, he was saying that you found out the Hookkeeper spot, you're the one who found it?
Yeah, basically, I was just doing the typical tourist thing. I'd lived on Maui for about 6 or 8 months, and I was doing the drive to Hana, and I'd lived on the other side, Lahaina side, so I drove by Hookkeeper and just went, wow, look at the wind and waves here. And the beach was empty. Nobody went out there back then.
That was 82 or 80?
That was 78.
78. So it was really a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then you went on the water with your windsurfer? Or?
Then, yeah, the week later, took the windsurfer out there and just knew that it was a great spot.
And was there other people windsurfing with you, or were you just on your own?
I was on my own then, but that was about the same. That next year in '89, it really started growing, you know, kind of like kite surfing is now, but every week somebody teaches their friend, and then they teach their friend, and so the sport was starting to kind of take off.
It tends to be an extreme place for anything. You have, you know, waves, world-class waves, and strong winds, and not a lot of open beach like you do in other places such as Florida to teach people. So what we try to do is we try to teach them safely on the resources that we have available to us here. But it makes it for a perfect place for people to come to learn, because almost on any given day you can have, you know, wonderful conditions.
I can remember in the beginning of the 80s, I can remember you in magazines showing how to do the jive and everything. It was really good.
That was the big move back then.
Yeah.
The jive.
Yeah.
Jive was a big
That's
move.
like kite surfing now. The big move is going upwind.
The reason most of us got into windsurfing was because it was kind of that obscure sport that nobody else did. So
Yeah.
you could kind of go with your friends, and it was just you guys, and
Yeah.
and every day was a learning experience. And so now with the kites, it's exactly the same. It's a learning experience. It's just a few guys checking it out, and the equipment's different every week. You try a different board, try different kites, different
Yeah,
strings.
that's why you're motivated by going on the water every day now, because every day I see you on the water.
Yeah,
with Pete, and
I think it's the learning curve that excites people to sports. And so when you're learning so much every day, you just want to go the next day and you want to get better and better. And then when you reach the top of a sport, you've stopped that excitement of the learning curve. So you look for another one.
I don't think people are going to completely walk away from windsurfing. I think the people that windsurf will also kite surf. And I mean, windsurfing is cool. Windsurfing is like, you know, there's some things you can do in windsurfing like wave riding that, you know, there's no other sport like it. But kite surfing has its own appeal as well. And that's, for me, and I think for a lot of guys, it's the air.
yeah,
You can get some sick air, some just big jumps.
because you surf a lot, or you surf jaws, and that you windsurf as well. You windsurfed it as well.
Yeah, sure.
So you're really a surfer. You think that kite surfing won't be able to surf waves?
I think it will, but right now the kite is so far away from the rider that the moves aren't that spontaneous.
Yeah.
You sort of have to really plan your maneuvers out right now. I mean, you can do it, and some guys are actually doing it pretty nice. On big waves with really long walls, you can get some nice turns on the wave.
Yeah.
But it's not that spontaneous, and it's not, you know, you have to sort of set up for the move.
What do you think about the boards? Because it seems to be very important to go upwind and to be able to use it in different conditions properly.
Well, that's what Mike was saying about getting in on the ground floor again, and the excitement of the learning curve is that every day you go out, there's maybe some new equipment to be developed or some new maneuver, and everybody's got their own style of sailing or surfing that everybody brings to the table.
Yeah.
Their own influence.
Well, for now, the only really sail that works for kite surfing that takes off the water is the Wipika, but I know now it's going to be Nash Sales with using the Wipika license.
Right.
And you're working with Robbie, so you're working on the design as well of the sails and testing it out with Don. And
I've only tested one of the prototypes,
Yeah.
and it was a 4-line kite. But we're going to make 2-line kites and 4-line kites, and yeah, it's still very, very basic design right now. But I really feel like in the next year it's really going to take off, because now we have the technology to actually design it ourselves and build it ourselves.
Yeah. So that's going to make things move anyway, because more different brands there exists, better it is, I think.
For sure.
Better for everybody.
Don Montague, designer of the Nesh sails, is completely into kite surfing. He's designing the Nesh kites.
So the first thing you want to do when you design a kite is you have to decide on your profile. And here you can see that our cam is 9.7 and our position is at 18%. We can change this by different ways, either by working on each angle individually, or by entering a value in here. And from this we can change our aspect ratio, our center of effort where the kite sits, how many segments we want in the kite, and so on. So for example, say I want to have 8 segments. Now I've put in 8 segments. This is showing the front arc of the kite.
Yeah.
And from there you can see now this is the side view of the kite. And from here we can now go to 3D. And this shows basically the kite that we designed. From here we can now look at the kite in a 3D shaded zone, so you kind of get a perspective of looking at the
This
kite.
same program is also used by Wipika for the future wings. The two designers, Bruno Legaignoux and Don, will be able to work on parallel programs to use all the potential of round wings that take off.
Let's just say to make a windsurfing sail it takes 1 day. To make a kite it takes 3 days. So yeah, I would say it's much more difficult at this point. A lot more pieces, the work is much finer. So this allows us to make many different kites, especially when we take our production overseas, to make many different kites quickly and change aspect ratios, and we can do all this in a matter of seconds. Whereas if you didn't have a computer program, you would be screwed. You would not be able to do it. So at any time, let's say for example you say, hey Don, I really need a 6.3 and I really would like to have this narrow aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Just call me up, I'll put it in, and I could have it to you in a week. FedEx from China
Well, that's good.
to you, yeah.
Yeah, it's really...
Basically, you still have to be a designer, but you shouldn't spend your time in front of the computer making patches and junk. You should be out there testing your equipment. And you asked me before, how can I manage making windsurfing sails and kites? And this is why I can manage. It's because basically, if I want to make a 5.5 now, I've made the 5.0. To make the 5.5, all I do is I go in here and I just change the boom length and change the math length, and that's it. It's done. Because I've already created all the internal structure. I've created my shape flow, my left curve. It's already been input. And now I just push a button and out comes, for example, if you look here, here are all the pieces for the patch. They're already on the right layer and everything's ready to go. So from this approach of sail making, you know, we've spent the time and the money to produce the software to make it so that we can succeed in the kite surfing and do both.
In September 1998, the first kitesurf competition took place on the north shore of Maui. It's certainly the first of a long series. This race, together with other ones around the world like in Europe, will hopefully create a Kitesurf World Cup, open to all riders and all kitesurfing styles. The story of the sport is being written right in front of us.
We did 3 different disciplines. We did wave competition, and we did a downwind race, which was about 5.5 miles. And then we did a slalom course. And Robbie Nash beat me in slalom course. So did Corey Rosler, the father of kite ski. You know, I took 3rd place in slalom course. So that's something I have to work on. I prefer waves.
What was out?
And I really like to go fast.
How did you make it out in the wave contest?
I took 1st place in the wave contest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and I took 1st place in a downwind race. Me and Corey Rosler actually tied. He won the 1st day, and I won the 2nd day.
It was good. It was just a neat opportunity to get all the different people together because, like Pete was saying, everybody uses such different equipment. There's guys on water skis, 2 skis, 1 ski, you know, floaty kites, kites that don't float, kites that look like hang gliders.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting to see all these really different ideas come into one arena because you never know exactly what works better, you know, and until you try it and people show up and show what they're using, you kind of take ideas from that guy and go, wow, look how narrow his board is and it works, you know, maybe we don't need all that flotation, and or maybe we do, or different conditions need different equipment. I think for us, it's not really who's going to win. It's going to be what new thing can we all learn and share with everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly in fact why we're here, for example, from France, to see what you're doing, and I hope you'll be coming soon to Europe. And
yeah, we hope so.
See what we're doing over there, and things will get moving anyway.
Yeah.
During 1 month on Maui, we're on the water every day. It's true you can kitesurf in 8 to 10 knots of wind. Every day we met new people, often friends, who fixed up an old surfboard and bought a wing. One day we were doing a downwind from Ho'okipa to Sprex with Christopher and Don, when a red wing with the skull and crossbones in the middle suddenly came out from nowhere. It was of course Robbie Nash. He came over and we finished our little trip with hardly any wind.
Yeah, I mean, we started last Christmas. Last Christmas, we spent in Kailua, and that was his first attempt at kite surfing. From there, he practiced maybe 5 times, and we did the kite championships. He won the slalom and was 3rd in the wave riding, and yeah, he's hooked.
And does he want to do more? Does he have to? At one moment, you have to choose.
No.
No, don't you think so?
No, definitely not.
No?
There's always a place for wave riding at Ho'okipa and kite surfing on different days. I mean, some days Ho'okipa is so good that windsurfing is still great. So kite surfing will never replace windsurfing. Both of them will work together. This is the politically correct response, you know. The first days that I got Pete out there, was, you know, all he could do was go downwind, but the exhilaration on his face afterwards, you know, said it all. And for me, I mean, windsurfing is 2-dimensional, and kite surfing is 3-dimensional. In windsurfing, you got this big piece of mylar in front of your face, and in kite surfing, you're free. There's nothing in your way. You've got this kite. You've got so much potential to do things that we've never even imagined. We haven't even started to understand what we can do with these kites. And right now it's, the boards, everyone's got a different board, everyone's got a different kite, everybody's thinking different things. And wait for 3 years. In 3 years, we'll see. Wait for 3 years. In 3 years, we'll see.
I just wish I could transport myself in time into the future and see what the next step is 5 years from now, and then bring it back to the present, because it's going to take us, the guys going out and trying new boards and varying situations that are going to come up with the next step of in the years to come. And then we've done a lot of progress here on our own on the boards. 6 months ago, I was barely able to stay upwind on a surfboard, and now we're not sure if it's more technique or board design, but now we've tend to got going upwind down pretty good, and we're catching on quick.
Why are you using 5 fins? The fins in front, what do you use them for?
Just personal preference, actually. I like it when we have strong, gusty winds here sometimes, and the extra fins just tend to give me a little extra grip in the water when we have a big, strong gust come through and just rip you out of the seat of your pants.
It's much more stable. You really
I find it to be much more stable, yes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a slow-as-she-goes soul sailor. I like to just kind of go out there and cruise around and have a good time and not get hurt. And, if I happen to pull into a wave and maybe hit a lip or two, that's great. But I'm not like trying to go out and, do things that, I don't know. Actually, I am pushing the envelope of every day, but in my, view, that doesn't make sense. Edit that. That's going to hit the editing floor, huh?
In your view, what happens?
Well, I mean, I'm like a soul sailor. I like to go out and just have a good time and enjoy myself, and that's what it's really all about. I mean, waves weren't anything much. Just an off day. But you have the good and the bad. So take the good and the bad. Here,
we'll see tomorrow.
Is pretty good.
Yeah. We'll see tomorrow anyway.
Huh? Yeah, tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow will be good, consistent conditions.
Elliot Lebeau and Lou Wayman kite together on classic wakeboards.
You did the first race that happened here in September? Yeah, they had the contest, the world whatever. They call it the world championship. Yeah. Was it good fun? Did you like it?
Actually, it's like 5 to 10 knots of wind the whole time.
Yeah.
So the guys with the bigger kites did better, than guys with smaller kites, and we didn't really have enough wind for the wakeboards. They didn't white cap once the whole time. So.
Okay. But don't you have other boards, bigger boards, with big wakeboards to go out when it's light wind?
Yeah, but you still need a considerable amount of wind, and I just got a towing board.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Do you like that as well?
it's okay. It's not the same as wakeboard, but it's
Yeah.
faster for sure. You can ride bigger waves. And, it's kind of cool to take some of the wakeboarding maneuvers and bring them to
You
the
do,
strap surfing.
you do a lot of wakeboards?
Yeah, I did windsurfing for 13 years, but I picked up wakeboarding for about a year before I came out here. So just kind of crossing over with it. So Elliot and I went to the gorge last summer, and basically, they have Corey Rossler was the designer of the kite ski, which is pretty much the kite they've been using out there. And then we brought the inflatable kites out there, which seems a little bit better, that concept. But and then we were kind of doing some tricks there and kind of going big.
It's a good wind. You can jump low there. It's a bit like.
It's pretty gusty there.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then you'll get a good day where it's pretty 20 knots and it's not gusty and it's consistent. But overall, it's pretty gusty and really windy. So you need a really fast, maneuverable kite, small kite. I'd like to try and go really fast in a straight line. I see some excitement out of that. But as far as the whole windsurfing aspect, like slalom racing and upwind and all that, it all has to do with equipment, not balls, basically. Not guts. So I'd rather do tricks in the waves and flat water freestyle stuff than do racing.
It's very interesting to see all the different directions the sport is taking. On Maui, all the testing is done on the boards. Everybody's using Wipika wings or Ness wings. People use surf, wakeboards, 2 or 3 straps, 3, 4 or 5 fins. We met Daniel, a Canadian, who's been on Maui.